Hello, everyone. Welcome to Nightmare Nexus, where the darkness comes alive with spine-chilling stories and eerie tales that will keep you on the edge of your seat. Before beginning, please hit the subscribe button to never miss out on new stories. Today, we will talk about true winter horror stories, the frozen cabin in the woods. So without further ado, let's get started. It was supposed to be the perfect winter escape. 6 friends, a secluded cabin, and miles of untouched snow-covered forest. No cell service, no distractions, just the crackling fire, hot cocoa, and the promise of a weekend filled with laughter and relaxation. But sometimes the most innocent plans can take a dark turn. The cabin was nestled deep in the woods, a good 2-hour drive from the nearest town. The snow had been falling heavily for days, and the roads were barely passable. By the time they arrived, the sun had already dipped below the horizon, casting an eerie blue glow over the landscape. The cabin itself looked like something out of a postcard, a rustic wooden structure with smoke curling from the chimney, surrounded by towering pines weighed down by snow. "Home, sweet home," Sarah said, her breath visible in the freezing air as she stepped out of the car. The group unloaded their bags and hurried inside, eager to escape the biting cold. The cabin was cozy, with a large stone fireplace, a well-stocked kitchen, and enough beds for everyone. They spent the first evening laughing, playing board games, and sharing stories by the fire. It was perfect, until the noises started. It was around midnight when they first heard it, a faint scratching sound, like nails dragging against wood. At first they thought it was the wind, or maybe an animal outside. But the sound persisted, growing louder and more deliberate. "Did you hear that?" Mark asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Everyone froze, listening intently. The scratching stopped, replaced by an eerie silence. Then a low, guttural growl echoed through the walls. "Okay, that's not normal," Emily said, her voice trembling. They tried to brush it off, convincing themselves it was just their imaginations running wild. But as the night wore on, the noises became more frequent and more unsettling. Doors creaked open on their own. The temperature in the cabin dropped despite the roaring fire, and shadows seemed to move in the corners of their vision. By morning, everyone was on edge. The once cozy cabin now felt like a prison, its walls closing in around them. They decided to stick together and investigate, hoping to find a logical explanation for the strange occurrences. The first clue came when they discovered footprints in the snow outside. They were large, much larger than any human foot, and led from the edge of the woods straight to the cabin. The tracks circled the building before disappearing into the trees. "What the hell made those?" Jake asked, his voice shaky. No one had an answer. They followed the tracks into the forest, their breath visible in the freezing air. The woods were unnaturally quiet, the only sound the crunch of snow beneath their boots. The tracks led them to a clearing where they found something that made their blood run cold. In the center of the clearing was a crude altar made of twisted branches and animal bones. Hanging from the trees were strange symbols carved into pieces of wood, and the ground was littered with what looked like dried blood. "This is bad," Sarah whispered. "We need to get out of here." But it was too late. As they turned to leave, they heard a rustling in the trees. Something was moving toward them, something big. They ran, their hearts pounding as they stumbled through the snow. The creature, whatever it was close behind, its growls growing louder with every step. They made it back to the cabin and barricaded themselves inside, but they knew it wouldn't hold for long. The creature circled the building, its heavy footsteps shaking the walls. Then it began to pound on the door, each strike more forceful than the last. "We can't stay here," Mark said, his voice frantic. "We need to make a run for the car." It was their only chance. They waited for a lull in the pounding, then burst out of the cabin and sprinted toward the car. The creature was right behind them, its breath hot on their necks. They piled into the car, their hands shaking so badly they could barely get the keys in the ignition. As they sped down the icy road, they glanced back and saw the creature standing at the edge of the woods, its glowing eyes watching them disappear into the night. They never went back to the cabin. To this day, they refuse to talk about what happened that weekend. But sometimes, on cold winter nights, they can still hear the scratching at their windows and feel the icy breath of the creature that haunts their dreams. This story is based on true events. If you ever find yourself in a remote cabin in the woods, remember, you might not be alone. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Share with your friends, stay safe, and always trust your instincts.